Kenechukwu's hand trembled as she slid the diamond ring off her finger. The gold band caught the light from the hallway sconces, glittering mockingly as she placed it on the marble table between them. Minho's face twisted from shock to rage in the span of a heartbeat. "You're making a scene," he hissed, grabbing her wrist. His fingers dug into her skin hard enough to bruise. "Pick it up. Now." She yanked her arm free, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to spill. "We're done, Minho. Completely done." Behind them, the engagement party continued in the grand ballroom, champagne glasses clinking, laughter echoing off crystal chandeliers. No one had noticed yet that the bride-to-be had just walked away from everything. The woman Minho had been kissing, some executive's daughter with perfectly straight hair and a designer hanbok, had already disappeared through a side exit. "Coward. You can't just walk away from me," Minho said, his voice dropping to that dangerous whisper she'd learned to fear over the past few months. "Do you know what I've invested in you? The time. The reputation hit of dating someone like you. Someone like you." The words landed like a slap. Kenechukwu had heard variations of this before, whispered behind hands at corporate events, typed in comments on social media posts about their relationship. But hearing it from his mouth, from the man who'd promised to love her forever just hours ago, carved something raw and bleeding inside her chest. "Then consider it a lucky escape," she said, turning toward the exit. His hand shot out again, but this time someone else's hand was faster. Sung Park stepped between them, his presence suddenly filling the narrow corridor. Minho's older brother, the one who rarely spoke at family gatherings, who watched everything with those dark, calculating eyes. "Let her go," Sung said quietly. "Before we dive deeper into Kenechukwu's journey from betrayal to true love, do me a quick favor, smash that subscribe button right now. This story gets more intense with every minute, and you won't want to miss what happens when Sung faces his family for her. Hit that notification bell too, because we drop stories like this every week that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And if you're already hooked by this opening scene, show some love with a like. It takes 1 second but means the world to us. Now, let's get back to the drama." "This is none of your business," Minho spat. "It became my business when you put your hands on her." Sung's voice remained calm, but his body was coiled tension. "She said it's over. Respect that." Kenechukwu didn't wait to see how the standoff ended. She gathered her wrapper, the traditional Nigerian fabric she'd worn to honor her heritage at this cursed celebration, and walked out of the Park family's Gangnam venue with her head high. She made it to the street before the tears came, hot and angry, streaming down her carefully made-up face. A taxi slowed, and she climbed in, giving the driver her Itaewon address in broken Korean mixed with English. The city blurred past the window. Seoul at night was always beautiful, all neon and possibility. But tonight it felt like a city that would never truly be hers. 2 years she'd spent building a relationship with Minho. 2 years of learning Korean customs, of smiling through his mother's passive-aggressive comments about her skin tone, of pretending not to notice how his friends looked at her like an exotic pet he'd acquired. Her phone buzzed incessantly. Minho's name flashed across the screen 17 times before she blocked his number. Then came the messages from his friends, his cousins, even his assistant. All variations of "you're overreacting" and "think about what you're throwing away." The taxi pulled up to her shop, Eneni's Threads, tucked between a cafe and a vintage clothing store. She'd named it after her grandmother, the woman who'd taught her that fabric could tell stories, that every thread mattered. The shop was dark now, but she had an apartment above it. Small, cramped, nothing like the penthouse Minho had promised they'd move into after the wedding. But it was hers. She climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. Inside, she didn't bother turning on the lights. She just collapsed onto her bed, still in her engagement outfit, and let herself break. Not for Minho. She'd mourn the time wasted, yes, but not the man himself. She cried for the version of herself who believed she could make herself small enough, acceptable enough, Korean enough to fit into his world. Her phone lit up again. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. "Don't hang up." Sung's voice, rough and uncertain. I just wanted to make sure you got home safely. Kenechukwu sat up, wiping her face. How did you get this number? I have my ways. Look, I know this is terrible timing, but I need you to know something. He paused, and she heard traffic sounds in the background. Was he outside? What my brother did tonight, what he's been doing to you this whole time, it's not okay. Our family, we're not all like him. Why do you care? The question came out harsher than she intended. Because I've watched him destroy good things my entire life. And you, Kenechukwu, you're better than anything he deserved. The way he said her name, carefully pronouncing each syllable, made something flutter in her chest. I know you don't know me well. We've barely spoken at family events. But I see you. I've always seen you. She stood, walked to her window. Below, a figure stood under the streetlight, phone pressed to his ear. Sung Park, still in his formal suit, looking up at her building. Are you stalking me? She asked, but there was no heat in it. Making sure you're safe. There's a difference. He lowered his phone, and even from this distance, she could see his slight smile. I'm going now. But Kenechukwu, you did the right thing tonight. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. He walked away before she could respond, disappearing into Seoul's endless night. Kenechukwu pressed her forehead against the cool glass, her reflection ghostly and strange. She just ended her engagement hours ago, and here was his brother, saying things that made her heart race in ways Minho never had. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that subscribe button. This journey is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Sleep didn't come easily. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Minho's face, heard his cruel words. But mixed in with the pain was Sung's voice, steady and sure, telling her she'd done the right thing. She didn't know him, not really. In 2 years of dating Minho, she'd maybe exchanged 20 words with his older brother. Sung was always there at family gatherings, quiet and observant, but never demanding attention like Minho did. Morning came too soon. Kenechukwu dragged herself out of bed, her eyes swollen from crying, her body aching like she'd been in a physical fight. In some ways she had been. She showered, scrubbing off yesterday's makeup and the memory of Minho's touch, then dressed in simple jeans and a loose top. The shop needed to open. Life didn't stop for Heartbreak, especially not when you owned a small business in one of Seoul's most expensive neighborhoods. She was arranging fabric bolts when Ji-won burst through the door, her best friend's face flushed with urgency. Have you seen it? Please tell me you haven't seen it. Seen what? Kenechukwu asked, though dread already pooled in her stomach. Ji-won thrust her phone forward. The screen showed a popular Korean gossip forum, and the top post featured a photo from last night. Someone had captured the moment Kenechukwu removed her ring, the image slightly blurred but damning. The caption read, "Foreign gold digger dumps Park Air after getting cold feet. Sources say she demanded more money." That's not what happened, Kenechukwu whispered, scrolling through hundreds of comments. Most were in Korean, but she recognized enough characters to understand the tone. Cruel. Vicious. Racist. I know that. Anyone who knows you knows that. Ji-won grabbed her shoulders. But Minho's people are already controlling the narrative. Look at this. Another post, this one with a quote from an anonymous Park family insider, claiming Kenechukwu had been seeing other men, that she'd only wanted access to their wealth and connections. The lies were so elaborate, so detailed, they almost seemed real. Her phone rang. Unknown number again. She answered without thinking. Kenechukwu. It's Sung. Don't believe anything you read today. How did you know I'd seen it? Because I know my family's playbook. Minho's throwing a tantrum, and Mother is doing damage control. They're going to try to destroy you. His voice was tight with anger. I'm coming to your shop. We need to talk. No, she said quickly. That'll just make things worse. If they see you with me. I don't care what they see. The line went dead. 20 minutes later, Sung walked through her door, drawing stares from the morning crowd in Itaewon. He was dressed casually today, jeans and a black sweater, but he still carried that air of wealth and power that all the Park men seemed born with. Except his eyes were kind. That was the difference. "We should talk in private," he said, glancing at Ji-won, who was pretending to organize inventory but clearly eavesdropping. Kenechukwu led him upstairs to her apartment. The space felt smaller with him in it, his presence somehow filling every corner. He moved to her window, the same one she'd looked out of last night when he'd called. "I confronted Min-ho this morning," Sung said without preamble. "Told him to stop the smear campaign. He laughed in my face. You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." He turned to face her, and the intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. "I've spent my entire life watching my brother hurt people and doing nothing. I told myself it wasn't my place, that family loyalty mattered more than being right. But seeing him hurt you, seeing what he's doing now, I can't stay silent anymore." Kenechukwu wrapped her arms around herself. "Why do you care? You don't know me." "I know enough." He took a step closer, then seemed to think better of it, maintaining the distance. "I know you built this business from nothing 3 years ago. I know you send money home to Nigeria every month to support your younger siblings' education. I know you volunteer at the International Community Center teaching textile arts to immigrant women. I know Min-ho never deserved a single moment of your time. How do you know all that?" A slight flush crept up his neck. "I pay attention. Maybe more than I should have." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so unlike his usual composed demeanor. "Look, I'm not here to take advantage of your vulnerability. I'm here because someone needs to stand with you against what's coming. And I want it to be me." "What's coming?" As if in answer, her phone exploded with notifications. Instagram, KakaoTalk, email, all flooding with messages. Ji-won's voice called up the stairs. "Keen. You need to see this." They rushed downstairs. Ji-won had pulled up a news article on her tablet. A major Korean business publication had just posted a story about the controversial relationship between Park Min-ho and a foreign businesswoman, complete with insinuations about visa fraud and gold digging. The article carefully avoided direct accusations while implying everything. "They're actually doing this," Kenechukwu said, her voice hollow. "They're actually trying to ruin me." Sung's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone and made a call, speaking rapid Korean. When he hung up, his expression was grim. "My father authorized this. He sees you as a threat to the family reputation now. Min-ho convinced them you were planning to go to the press with embarrassing stories." "I would never." "I know. But they don't care about truth. They care about control." Sung stepped closer, his hand hovering near hers before he let it drop. "I can help you fight this, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. My family doesn't lose quietly." Kenechukwu looked around her shop, at the fabric she'd collected from Nigerian markets and Korean wholesalers, at the business she'd built with her own hands and vision. She thought about running, about packing up and going back to Lagos where at least the rejection would be familiar. But something stubborn and fierce rose in her chest. "I'm not leaving," she said. "This is my home too. I earned my place here." Something shifted in Sung's expression, pride maybe, or admiration. "Then let me stand with you. Please." Before she could answer, the shop door chimed. A woman in an expensive suit entered, her expression cold and professional. "Ms. Okafor? I'm from Park Industries' legal department. We need to discuss your visa status and business licensing. There seem to be some irregularities." Sung moved between them instantly. "She's not speaking to you without her own lawyer present." The woman's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Park, this doesn't concern you. Everything about this concerns me." His voice dropped to a tone Kenechukwu had never heard before, cold and commanding. "Tell my father that if he wants a war, he'll get one. But it won't be with her. It'll be with me." The woman's composure finally cracked. You don't mean that. Try me. Sung pulled out his phone again. I'm calling Kim and Associates. They're the best litigation firm in Seoul, and they'll represent Ms. Okafor pro bono as a personal favor to me. Now get out of her shop before I have you removed for harassment. After the woman left, Ji-won let out a low whistle. Okay, I like this one better than the other brother. Kenechukwu wanted to laugh but couldn't quite manage it. Her whole world was crumbling, and Sung Park, a man she barely knew, was throwing himself into the fire for her. Why are you doing this? Your family will destroy you too. Let them try. He finally closed the distance between them, his hand gentle as it cupped her cheek. The touch sent electricity through her entire body. I've been the obedient son my whole life. I built half their empire while Minho played. I've earned the right to make my own choices. And I choose to stand with you. You don't even know me, she whispered, but she didn't pull away from his touch. The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility and danger. Then Kenechukwu's phone rang, shattering the spell. Her mother's face filled the screen, video call from Lagos. She answered with shaking hands. Kenechukwu, what is this I'm hearing? Her mother's face was creased with worry. Mrs. Adeyemi showed me some article online. They're saying terrible things about you. Mama, it's not true. None of it is true. I knew that boy was trouble. I told you, didn't I tell you? Her mother's voice rose. Come home. Come home now before this gets worse. I can't run away, Mama. Then let me know you. His thumb brushed away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. Give me a chance to prove I'm nothing like my brother. The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility and danger. Then Kenechukwu's phone rang, shattering the spell. Her mother's face filled the screen, video call from Lagos. She answered with shaking hands. Kenechukwu, what is this I'm hearing? Her mother's face was creased with worry. Mrs. Adeyemi showed me some article online. They're saying terrible things about you. Mama, it's not true. None of it is true. I knew that boy was trouble. I told you, didn't I tell you? Her mother's voice rose. Come home. Come home now before this gets worse. I can't run away, Mama. This isn't running. This is wisdom. You have nothing to prove to these people. Behind her mother, Kenechukwu could see her father pacing, her younger sister Chioma hovering anxiously. Your family is here. We love you. We'll protect you. Sung stepped back, giving her privacy, but his presence remained solid and reassuring. Kenechukwu looked at him, then back at her mother's worried face. I love you too, Mama. But this is my home now. I'm not leaving. After she hung up, the shop felt too quiet. Ji-won had retreated to the back room, giving them space. Sung stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at Itaewon's busy street. Your mother's right, you know, he said quietly. You could leave. Start over somewhere the Park family can't reach you. Is that what you want? He turned, and the vulnerability in his expression stole her breath. What I want is for you to be safe and happy. But selfishly, desperately, I want you to stay. Kenechukwu crossed to him, her heart hammering. I'm staying. Not for you, not yet. But I'm staying. Not yet, he repeated, a ghost of a smile on his lips. I can work with that. The next 3 days were hell. More articles appeared, each one more vicious than the last. Her business Instagram was flooded with hateful comments. 2 of her biggest wholesale clients cancelled orders, citing concerns about brand association. She received threatening messages, some racist, some just cruel. Through it all, Sung was there. He hired security for her shop, connected her with a publicist, sat with her through panic attacks at 2 in the morning when the weight of it all felt crushing. On the 4th day, he took her to Bukshan Hanok village, away from the chaos. They walked through traditional neighborhoods, the old houses a stark contrast to Gangnam's modern towers. It was quieter here, peaceful. I used to come here as a kid, Sung said, leading her down a narrow alley. When family dinners got too loud, when father's expectations felt too heavy, I'd pretend I was someone else, someone whose life wasn't already mapped out. What did you want to be? Kenechukwu asked. An architect. I wanted to design buildings that made people feel something, not just house corporations. He smiled sadly. But I was the eldest son. That came with responsibilities. You still could. It's not too late. Maybe. He stopped, turning to face her. They were alone in a small courtyard, cherry blossoms just beginning to bloom overhead. Being with you makes me think about possibilities I'd given up on. Makes me want to be brave. Kenechukwu's pulse quickened. Sung. I'm falling for you, he said, the words rushing out like he'd been holding them back too long. I know the timing is terrible. I know you're hurting and I'm part of the family that's hurting you. But I can't pretend anymore. Every time I see you, every conversation we have, I fall a little more. She should step back. She should protect her heart. She just ended an engagement days ago, and here was his brother confessing feelings that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. But when Sung looked at her like that, like she was something precious and rare, all her defenses crumbled. Kiss me, she whispered. His eyes widened. Are you sure? I've never been less sure of anything in my life. Kiss me anyway. He moved slowly, giving her time to change her mind, but she didn't. When his lips met hers, it was nothing like kissing Min-ho. This was soft and searching, a question rather than a demand. His hand cradled the back of her head, fingers tangling in her braids, while his other arm circled her waist, pulling her closer. She melted into him, into the warmth and safety and possibility of it all. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sung rested his forehead against hers. I'm going to tell my family. About us. About how I feel. That's a terrible idea, Kenechukwu said, but she was smiling. Probably the worst I've ever had. He kissed her again, quick and sweet. But I'm doing it anyway. The family meeting happened 3 days later. Sung insisted Kenechukwu didn't need to be there, but she refused to let him face them alone. So they drove together to the Park Estate in Pyeongchang-dong, a massive compound that screamed old money and older traditions. Min-ho was already in the sitting room when they entered, his smirk widening when he saw their joined hands. So the rumors are true. How long were you two sneaking around behind my back? We weren't, Sung said evenly. Whatever this is started after you destroyed your relationship through your own cruelty. Mrs. Park entered, her face a mask of controlled fury. Sung, I thought you called this meeting to discuss business, not to parade your brother's leftovers. Kenechukwu flinched, but Sung's grip on her hand tightened. Show respect, mother. Or this conversation ends now. Respect. Mrs. Park's laugh was bitter. You want me to respect the woman who's divided this family? The woman who rejected one son and somehow seduced the other? I seduced no one, Kenechukwu said, finding her voice. Your son Min-ho betrayed me, humiliated me, and then tried to destroy my reputation when I had the dignity to walk away. I won't apologize for refusing to be disrespected. You should be grateful anyone in this family looked at you twice, Mr. Park said, entering with his usual commanding presence. Do you know how many opportunities you had because of the Park name? And this is how you repay us. I built my business before I met Min-ho, Kenechukwu shot back. I needed nothing from your family except basic human decency, which apparently was too much to ask. You have fire, Mr. Park said, studying her with calculating eyes. I'll give you that. But fire doesn't build dynasties. Strategy does. Reputation does. And right now, you're a liability we can't afford. Sung stepped forward. Then consider me a liability too. Because I'm not giving her up. I'm in love with her, and I'm going to marry her. The room erupted. Mrs. Park actually swayed, grabbing a chair for support. Min-ho launched himself at Sung, but their father's sharp command stopped him. Enough. All of you. You can't be serious, Mrs. Park said to Sung, her voice breaking. After everything we've done for you, everything we've given you, everything you've taken from me, you mean, Sung said quietly. My dreams. My choices. My entire life planned out before I could speak. I've been the obedient son for 34 years. I've built your empire, sacrificed my happiness, played the perfect heir. This is the one thing I'm asking for myself. Her. Choose carefully, Mr. Park said, his tone deadly calm. Choose her, and you lose everything. Your position in the company, your inheritance, your place in this family. Father, Sung started, but Kenechukwu cut him off. Stop. She turned to Sung, her eyes bright with unshed tears. We should go. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. He cupped her face, oblivious to his family's stares. I've been half alive my whole life, and then you walked into it. You with your strength and grace and refusal to be made small. I don't want the life they're offering if it means losing you. You'll regret it, Minho spat. She's not worth it. Sung turned to his brother, and for the first time, Kenechukwu saw real anger flash in his eyes. That's where you're wrong. She's worth everything. She has more integrity in her little finger than you've shown in your entire life. You had something precious and you threw it away because you're too broken to recognize love when it's standing right in front of you. Get out, Mr. Park said coldly. Both of you. If you walk out that door together, don't bother coming back. Sung took Kenechukwu's hand again. Then I guess this is goodbye. They walked out together, and Kenechukwu didn't look back. But once they were in the car, the reality hit her. Sung, what did we just do? You lost everything because of me. I lost nothing that mattered. He pulled over on a quiet street, turning to face her fully. Do you know what I gained? Freedom. Choice. You. That's worth more than all the Park money combined. But your family will either come around or they won't. But I'm done living for their approval. He kissed her softly, a promise and a question. I meant what I said in there. I want to marry you. Not today, not tomorrow, but when you're ready. I want to build a life with you, whatever that looks like. Kenechukwu kissed him back, deeper this time, pouring all her fear and hope and love into it. When they broke apart, she was crying and laughing at the same time. You're crazy. We're both crazy. Probably. He wiped her tears with his thumbs. But I'd rather be crazy with you than sane without you. 6 months later, they stood in a small hanok in Jeonju, surrounded by friends and family who actually loved them. Kenechukwu wore both a traditional Nigerian gele and a simple hanbok, sung in a modern suit with Igbo fabric accents. Ji-won stood as maid of honor, beaming. Chioma had flown in from Lagos with their parents, who'd softened after seeing how Sung treated their daughter. Some of the Park family attended, a few cousins and an aunt who'd always been kind. Min-ho was notably absent, reportedly in Singapore. Mrs. Park had sent a stiff congratulations card but nothing else. Mr. Park's response was silence, which spoke volumes. I don't care, Sung whispered as they exchanged vows. All I care about is you. The reception was small but joyful, a blend of cultures and traditions that reflected who they were together. Kenechukwu's mother cried happy tears, and her father grudgingly admitted that Sung was acceptable. High praise from him. 1 year later, Kenechukwu stood in her expanded shop, now Enanese threads and Park designs, watching Sung sketch building plans at the counter. He'd finally pursued architecture, taking on projects that excited him rather than obligated him. Their apartment in Seong-Sadong was filled with fabric samples and blueprints, a beautiful chaos that was uniquely theirs. Her hand rested on her swollen belly, their daughter growing stronger every day. They decided to name her Chisholm. God accompanies me. It felt right, after everything they'd survived to get here. You're staring, Sung said without looking up, a smile playing on his lips. I'm appreciating. She waddled over to him, and he immediately pulled her onto his lap, careful of her belly. Thank you. For what? For choosing me. For fighting for us. For being nothing like your brother. He kissed her forehead, her nose, finally her lips. Thank you for letting me. For seeing me when I was invisible. For making me brave enough to live the life I actually wanted. The shop door chimed, and to their shock, Mrs. Park entered. She looked older, uncertain, nothing like the imperious woman from that confrontation. Her eyes went immediately to Kenechukwu's belly. I heard you were expecting, she said quietly. A girl. Sung stood, protective, but Kenechukwu touched his arm. Yes. We're naming her Chisholm. Mrs. Park nodded slowly. That's beautiful. She clutched her handbag like a lifeline. I was wrong. About you. About this. My husband is too proud to admit it, but I can't let my grandchild be born without at least trying to make amends. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. Kenechukwu exchanged a glance with Sung, saw the cautious hope in his eyes, and made her decision. Would you like to feel her kick? She's very active today. Mrs. Park's composure cracked, tears spilling down her carefully made-up face. May I? Before we end, if you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Are you in Lagos, Seoul, New York, London? We love hearing from our global audience. Share your thoughts about Kenechukwu and Sung's journey. Have you ever had to choose between love and family expectations? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.